Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of radiant settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.
How we doing, people? Hope you are well. Apologies straight off. I've got a really croaky voice. I feel absolutely fine. I'm not unwell, but yeah, my throat, maybe I've been talking too much. Maybe it's been too many shows, but croaky. Good morning to every single one of you for being in the chat, or good afternoon or evening, wherever you're listening across the world. Thank you so much for being with me this morning on the morning news show. Really enjoying these shows, by the way. If you are, then please do me a favor and show your appreciation to state that you are enjoying it as well by hitting the like button and the subscribe button. We're getting very close now to 30k. We're even closer to 25k, which is, of course, the next mid target. The big target, of course, though, is 30. So please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. It's really important that we do that. It's an absolutely free button as well. You don't have to pay any subscription fee. It gives you the opportunity to grow the channel. To say a thank you, and for me to say a thank you as well, please hit the like button, hit subscribe. And if you would like to become a member and part of the 12th Man community, you can do that by hitting the join button and, of course, following the instructions. If you do want to show our sponsors some love, then please make sure you do. We want to keep Manscaped on our side, so please make sure that you are supporting them by showing them some love. Click on the pinned comment. It will take you to their website. Select beard and face. Hit the Beard Hedger. 20% off will come off. If you need some beard trimmers, if you need them for your father, for your brother, for your son, for your uncle, for your friend, early Christmas present, or of course birthday present, then please make sure that you do that. All you've got to do is click the link and hit the Beard Hedger. When you go to checkout, 20% will come off using that code. So please make sure that you do that. If you have any problems, just use the code FTM20 and you'll get 20% off of that product. So make sure it is that product though. Big up everybody in the chat, absolutely here nice and early. Big up to Steve, Emerson, Richie, Emma. Hope you're all doing very well. Big up to Sammy, WD, Johan, Ko, Aguna Matata. Love that name. Stig's Journey, Aaron, Chris, Joshua. Who else have we got? Fizzy, Helsinki, Julian, Rob, and of course Mia, and anyone else that I've missed, and anyone else that is in the chat room nice and early that isn't typing away at their keyboard. Big up to every single one of you. We're going to be talking quite a lot this morning about Arsenal, and we're going to be starting with Arsenal and finishing with Arsenal. We're going to talk about rumours that are already being linked for summer moves, January moves, and much more. We're going to talk about William Saliba and Real Madrid. We're also going to talk about Eddie Howe and his future. We're going to speak about some players that are being linked to replace the injured Rodri. Yes, that's right. Rodri will be out for a very long time, we suspect. So we're going to talk about who could replace him. We're also going to talk about links to managers and where they could be going as well. So sit back, kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. Right, let's start with Arsenal, shall we? Because they are linked with a striker. Now, everybody wanted a striker, including myself in the summer. Everybody wanted Isak. Everybody wanted Gyökeres. Everybody wanted Osimhen. Everybody wanted Tony. Benjamin Sesko, if you remember, was spoken about very, very early. But Arsenal, apparently, according to reports, are going all out in the summer for a striker. Now, I did say at the start of the show, I'm really sorry for my voice. I've got a drink, so I'm going to try and do my best to get through this today. But apologies for the croakiness. According to reports, Arsenal are planning a move in the summer for a striker. Now, the player being reported, it is not Isak. It is not Victor Gyökeres. It is not Tony or Osimhen. They've now got moves. It's not Benjamin Sesko, believe it or not. But you know who it is. It is Dusan Vlahovic, whose numbers at Juventus have started to become a little bit more impressive and similar to those that were at Fiorentina. Now, I don't know how excited you guys will get with this link. Vlahovic, again, really? I was shocked this morning when I read it. I can't believe that we're still talking about this rumour. Surely we've moved on from this. Surely that ship has sailed. But no, apparently, again, we are being linked with Vlahovic. Is this a smokescreen for somebody else? Is this actually true? Are we going all out for Dusan Vlahovic? He's clearly somebody that Arteta likes. He's clearly a player that we do look at and have looked at previously. And there are reports this morning suggesting that Arsenal are going to go all out for Vlahovic in the summer. Now, if I'm putting my football head on and trying to take the emotion out of it, I would be absolutely, what's the word? Shocked, stunned, and flabbergasted if we were to go and buy Dusan Vlahovic. That was 2 summers ago. Maybe it was longer than that. Maybe it was even 3 summers ago. Since then, Gabriel Jesus has come in, Kai Havertz has come in, and we've used Trossard as well in the position. And I just don't really see how Dusan Vlahovic would give us something different that Kai Havertz doesn't already provide us with. That's why, for me, I want to see somebody like Isak or Victor Gyökeres. And I actually believe that if we are to go all out in the summer for a signing at Arsenal and for a striker at Arsenal, I believe it'll be one of those two that we go for. And I think that Dusan Vlahovic could be a little bit of a smokescreen. Benjamin Sesko is another player that we're going to come on to in a minute, who's been linked with clubs away from Leipzig. Now, he did stay there, but is that more of a gentleman's agreement? A little bit like Victor Osimhen, that the move's happening in the next couple of years, but I'll sign the contract to give you value for me in the next coming 24 months or so. That's what it sounds like to me. But look, Dusan Vlahovic is being linked with Arsenal this morning. I looked at his stats. It's not phenomenal by any means, but it's certainly nothing to be looking at in any way that you think is potentially poor. Let me look at his stats again just to show you, or just to read out to you. Obviously, we knew all about him at Fiorentina, and his stats at Fiorentina were incredible, I've got to say. 21 goals in 35 games, 17 goals in 21 games. For Serbia, he's done fairly well in the 7 or 8 games he plays. He averages 3 or 4 goals. But for Juventus, started off not great. 7 goals in just 15 games, which wasn't terrible, but then got double figures in the last couple of seasons. 10 goals in 27, 16 goals in 30, 2 goals already in just 5 games. He does average out, when you look at it, around about a goal every other game. So he's a centre forward that can't be laughed at. But for me, if we're looking personally at a signing, I wouldn't be deflated by it, but I wouldn't be excited by it. Isak is my number one and has been for a while. And Victor Gyökeres is proving why we should have got him in the summer, with the incredible amount of goals he scored already. But also, what I think Gyökeres does is he actually brings so much more than just a killer in the box. His ball carrying is incredible. His link-up play is superb. He can actually score all sorts of goals, whether it be in the air, but also with both feet. And he actually does carry the ball from outside the box, which is something Kai Havertz doesn't do. So, look, that's what I want personally. And as Aaron has said, get the Swedes in. Look, I would 100% go for a Swedish striker. That's for sure. So that's Dusan Vlahovic, obviously being linked with a move to Arsenal yet again. Somebody else who's being linked with a move, of course, is a current Arsenal player, and that is, of course, William Saliba. And Arsenal have stated that he is not for sale. Real Madrid are massively interested in Saliba, but Arsenal have no intention to negotiate a potential sale of the French defender, who I thought was 22, but is actually now turned 23 years old. Football Transfers is reporting that Real Madrid are very keen. It's not just Saliba that they are after. Trent is also a player they are circling around, and he has only 1 year left on his deal. So Saliba contracted to 2027. He's currently on around about £200,000 a week. If we want to keep him, Arsenal are going to have to offer him a contract which doubles his wages near enough. €400,000 is what the centre halves are being paid at Real Madrid. So therefore, 350k is what we've got to try and offer these players. Not just Saliba, by the way, because once you offer it to Saliba, Saka will want it, Ødegaard will want it, Declan Rice will want it, and it will go on. So for me, Saliba is probably the most important player at Arsenal, and we need to keep him. Now, if we were to sell him, which I actually think we will do in a few years' time, hopefully it won't be in the next summer or two, I think we'll get a hell of a lot of money for him. If Virgil van Dijk went for £70 million back in 2016, what is William Saliba worth now? He has got to be close to being one of the first £100 million defenders, surely. But I don't want him sold. I want to keep him. He's a phenomenal talent, and one that I look at and just think everything that he does is phenomenal. And there's more stats on William Saliba soon I want to be bringing you, because I think it's really important for how Arsenal have started. Let's talk about this man, because Eddie Howe is being linked with a move away from Newcastle. And believe it or not, Manchester United are closely monitoring Eddie Howe's situation. Newcastle have got a doubt over his long-term future. I don't think that Newcastle are looking at Eddie Howe long-term. I really don't. I never thought that they have. I think he proved in the first season with Champions League football that he's a good manager. I have no doubt that he is a top coach. However, I think Newcastle with one game a week have a good chance of going up the table. People thought it was a wild take when I said I thought they get Champions League football. And to be fair, it doesn't look like it's a mad take. A mad take. But it does look like Aston Villa and Liverpool are just too strong. It looks like Chelsea are probably too strong. But actually, when you look at what Newcastle can still achieve with one game a week, they can still go for a domestic trophy. They can still push for European football. And when they get Isak, Gordon and Bruno back to form, Tonali back in that midfield, Joe Linton back to form, I think they've got some good players there. But there is massive pressure on him. Just as there is on Sean Dyche, just as there is on Ange Postecoglou, just as there is on Ten Hag. This is football. And unfortunately, in 2024, we don't like to give managers time. We don't like to give managers the time to bed in and look at their style. But then, in the flip side of that, has Eddie Howe had enough time? Has Ten Hag had enough time? Has Ange Postecoglou spent enough money and had enough time to start to look at where they're going in their futures at the club? I think they probably have. And Eddie Howe is now in the third season. The first season, he got Champions League football. The second season was depleted with injuries and ended up actually finishing fairly strong. With the first team, I think they could have actually done a lot more. And this season, it's time to prove that. One game a week, with the side they've got, they should be pushing up the table and they should be looking at European football. But Ten Hag is massively under pressure. Apparently, there's a rumour suggesting that they're going to be giving him the next couple of games, and their games don't look good. Their games are quite difficult. I think they've got Tottenham. I think they've got Brighton in there. I think they've got West Ham. I think they've got a couple of big games coming up that Manchester United. And you look at it and think, it doesn't look very good for Ten Hag. Not his future anyway. And I think that although he's won 2 trophies, you have to look at the play, style of play, lack of style of play, and wonder what's going on. So for me, yeah, I'm not going to get too giddy about Manchester United improving a couple of games this season. It just doesn't look good for me at all. So see what happens with Eddie Howe. Are Newcastle going to keep him? Are they going to commit to him? Or are they going to try to replace him? And who with? Who are they actually going to try and get Newcastle as their next manager? That will be very, very interesting. Let's talk about this player because he's been on absolute fire. John Duran is a player that a lot of Arsenal fans are now saying, go for him. Well, he's definitely attracted interest, that's for sure. He was linked with West Ham in the summer. He was linked with Chelsea in the summer. Arsenal fans were crying out for him. Man United fans were saying, go for it. But Barcelona are apparently looking at him. And the sporting director, Deco, who you all know from Porto and Barcelona days, is looking at a potential move for the 20-year-old Colombian striker, John Duran, who I think has been on fire this season alongside Ollie Watkins. This has given Aston Villa a real good chance this season. And I'll tell you why. I'm not getting giddy over beating the young boys in the Champions League, and I still think there's a long way to go. But their squad has impressed me. I saw it for the first time when we played them, and I looked at their bench versus ours, and I thought, actually, it's as strong, if not stronger. Bringing on Buendia, bringing on Ross Barkley, bringing on Boubacar Kamara, having John Duran in behind Ollie Watkins. You've still got Jacob Ramsey, Leon Bailey. You've still got Philogene, who's coming from Hull at the back. You've brought in players that I think can give some strength in depth. I just think, really, there's the right back and the goalkeeper. Other than that, everyone else covers each other. You've got good defenders coming in, good midfielders that are on the bench, and good strikers across the front three as well. I'm impressed by Villa, and I think what Unai Emery's done is phenomenal. And I think, personally, it could be a really, really good season for them. Morgan Rogers, another one who's been phenomenal. For me, he's probably in the team of the season so far in the first few games. So, look, he's been phenomenal. He really has. And that's a player that we need to keep an eye on, John Duran. Where is he going to go? Is he going to stay at Aston Villa? Could be interesting. Somebody else who's linked with moves away in January is, of course, Callum Wilson. Brentford and Fulham are both interested in a January move for Newcastle's 32-year-old striker Callum Wilson. That has come from reports this morning. Looks as if January is the target for both Fulham and Brentford, who, in my opinion, could do with a striker. Brentford have lost Ivan Toney and they've lost Vista to injury. And Mbeumo is more of a winger. And Fulham have got Raul Jimenez and Muniz, but let's be real, they could probably do with an upgrade on them. Is Callum Wilson that? I think if Callum Wilson's fit, he definitely is. Callum Wilson, and a fit Callum Wilson, is actually someone who knows where the back of the net is. 32 is not old, but let's be real, he's probably going to be starting to be in the declines of football, and he's a player that's very, very injury prone. So Newcastle are probably looking to get rid of him and actually look to upgrade on him. So watch what happens here in January. Now let's talk about this, because Rodri, it looks like he's going to be out for the season. And a lot of Arsenal fans have been a little bit cruel by celebrating it. Of course, it's a bonus. Of course, it's news that Arsenal want to hear that they're missing their best players, because it gives them the opportunity to take advantage. But actually, I would love to see Arsenal and Manchester City have no injuries this season. I would love to see both teams going at it head to head every single weekend, and let's see who's better. We all know that Manchester City's squad is stronger. So people are looking at this thinking, oh, that's better. That's made it a little bit more even now. Of course it has. I'm not one of those who laughs at injuries like this, because these are serious injuries. And in particular, Rodri coming out saying that one of us is going to get really badly injured. One of us is going to have too much. We've played too much football. We've played the whole of last season in every single competition right to the end. We've played the Euros that I've managed to win and get to right at the end. He's missed most of the start of this season. And then when he does play, he gets crocked. Look, Rodri needs replacing. And Rodri in January might be replaced. As far as Manchester City are concerned, they do have money, apparently, that they can splash on a midfielder to replace Rodri. Now, at the moment, they have Nunez, they have Gundogan, they have John Stones, who can play in there. They have Kovacic, who can play in there. And I'm sure they'll probably won't just put one like for like. They might change their system and play two. A lot of people suggesting that Kovacic and Bernardo might be the two they go with. Some are suggesting Kovacic and Gundogan might be the two that they go with. But in January, if things do look not too great, apparently they're looking at 4 players. One of them is Martin Zubimendi, the player that rejected Liverpool. Sociedad kept him, said he wanted to stay in Spain at Sociedad for a while. And for me, is probably the best holding midfielder that you could go and buy outside of the Premier League at the moment. He is a really good player. And I was really impressed when I did see him at Sociedad and also for Club and Country. In the Euros when he did play, I thought he was very impressive. And I've got to say, he's one that would absolutely fit perfectly into Manchester City's system. So he's one of the options. A 50 million release clause. I mean, that is a steal. It's absolutely no money at all. Would he reject Liverpool? Would he reject City as well? Or would he accept City but reject Liverpool? That would not please Liverpool fans. That is for sure. So that is one option that they want. Although he's injured at the moment, Nico Barella is another one being mentioned this morning, but I really don't see him leaving Inter Milan. However, if he was to leave, Manchester City might be the club that he leaves Inter Milan for. I think this is one of the most beautiful footballers to watch. I think he's an absolute baller. I think in this position, he's one of the best in the world. I really do. He's certainly the best in Serie A in that position, in my opinion. And then, of course, if they can't tempt Zubimendi or Barella, they're being linked with 2 others. We saw him the other night, Ederson for Atalanta, a player that Liverpool also were looking at. He's a highly talented player in that position and somebody that Manchester City are looking at. Could that be a potential move? How much would it cost? Would that be something that Manchester City are interested in? Would he be interested, or Atalanta be interested in speaking to Manchester City about the sale of Ederson? And then the other player we know very well is a Premier League player at the moment that hasn't started so well, but it's definitely got unbelievable talent. What a signing this was from Blackburn. I'm, of course, talking about Crystal Palace's Adam Wharton, a player that Manchester City have admired for the last couple of seasons now and have been very impressed with his season last year at Crystal Palace. Got himself an England call-up, definitely deservedly so. Plays in that holding midfield role and would be one for the future for sure. Is he ready to come in and replace Rodri? Not for me. But certainly, if you can't get a Barella, a De Jong, or somebody like Zubimendi, then Adam Wharton's one that you look at for the future. So what's happening there? How will they miss Rodri? Well, they will miss Rodri. There's no doubt. Yes, people will still see that they are potentially the favourites for the league still. A lot of people are telling me that Arsenal might have an advantage now, but Rodri being out doesn't mean that Manchester City can't and won't win the league. I totally agree with that. I still have Manchester City to win it. But Arsenal, in my opinion, and I'll make this statement again, and I made it last night. If Rodri is missed like he was last season, Arsenal must win the league. There's no letting Liverpool win it. There's no losing it out to Manchester City. If they drop points like they did last season without Rodri, we must. Right? We must. That's the way. That's what I'll leave it as. Because a lot of people say that's harsh, Dan. That's harsh. They're still top quality. They are top quality, but they're not the same without Rodri. We must. That's what I would say, right? That is what I would say. Let's move to Liverpool now because they are linked with a centre-half. And, of course, Virgil van Dijk, there's rumours about his future. Mark Guehi almost left Crystal Palace in the summer for Newcastle. That didn't happen. They wanted around 70 million. Liverpool are interested. Now, they do have Kenyatte, they do have Kwanzaa, they do have Joe Gomez. Joe Gomez linked with a move away, of course, to Newcastle and Aston Villa, but it looks as if they want a centre-half. Now, I think Liverpool need a centre-half. I really do. I think centre-half and the number 6 and the number 9 to complete their spine is what they need. Yes, they've got Jota, but he's made of glass. They need a number 9. I would have gone for Ivan Toney if I was Liverpool. I honestly would have. In the midfield area, I still feel they need a number 6, and I think Zubimendi would have been perfect. And I think Mark Guehi would be an absolutely perfect centre-half signing. I really do. And I said a couple of years ago, and Liverpool fans mocked me for it and were being very snobby. I said, why don't you go and buy Mark Guehi and Paulinho? Oh, we don't want a Palace and Fulham player. We don't want Palace and Fulham players. We're better than that. Well, you're not, because Lavia rejected you. Caicedo you didn't get. And also now Zubimendi you didn't get. So these players that say no to Liverpool, you might as well have gone and got Paulinho, who's 28 years old or 29 now and is phenomenal and was 40 million. That would have been a really good signing for Liverpool. Mark Guehi likewise would be a very good signing because he will take over from Virgil van Dijk. So look, that's where I'm at. I do believe personally that Mark Guehi will leave Palace. He's not signing his new deal. He'll stay for this year, in my opinion, but then he'll get a summer move, and I think he will move to somewhere like Liverpool or maybe even Newcastle. Will come back in. He's a player I really rate. I really do rate. Big up to Suj, here every morning, here every afternoon, and here every evening. What a legend. If you would like to become a member like Suj, then please do make sure you do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit join, and you can become a 12-man member. The 12-man community is growing with its memberships now, so please make sure that you do click that. Big up, Dan. Hit the like and subscribe, people. At the moment, there is 230 of you that are currently watching, and we only have 86 likes. That means we've not even hit over 100 likes yet. So please make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons, 2 buttons that are absolutely free, 2 buttons that are next to each other. Make sure you do that. Thank you, guys. Really appreciate it. Okay, let's continue because there is a lot to get through this morning. Let's talk about this guy. Arsenal nearly signed him. Arsenal were all over this signing, and Chelsea snapped this at the last second. And thank God they did. Mykhailo Mudryk at 23 is moving closer to leaving Chelsea this January. He's not getting a look in. With the signing of Sancho and Pedro Neto, Mudryk is one that needs to look away from Chelsea. Definitely, no doubt that he's got pace and he had raw talent, but he's come to the Premier League and has been a flop. Yes, it wasn't 90 million like it could have rose to, but trust me, at 65 million of whatever it is they've paid so far, it has not been a good signing. When you look at them mocking us for signing Havertz for that much, I look at this, what they've signed, and it is an absolute shambles. He has been terrible. He's not going to get a look in at Chelsea. For me, when you look at what they've already got, they've got Cole Palmer, they've got Nkunku, they've got João Felix, they've got Neto, they've got Sancho. They do not need Mudryk. They've still got Madueke, by the way, as well. He's not going to get a look in. He needs to go. And when we were linked with him, I was excited because it was a player that was raw. It was a new talent. It was someone that Arteta and Edward highlighted that was absolutely needed on the left-hand side. We ended up getting Trossard, and it was quite deflating afterwards after going for our number 1 target and missing out yet again. But boy, what a signing he has been. Getting Jorginho instead of Caicedo, people laughed at the time, but actually Jorginho's come in and done a very good job, and he hasn't cost £115 million. So that's where I'm at with the Mudryk situation. He needs to go. Let's talk about this guy, shall we? Because Arsenal were all over him in the summer. Benjamin Sesko. At the moment, it looks as if Manchester United are actually interested in signing the 21-year-old Slovenian forward, Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. Now, Arsenal were all over him this summer. He decided to stay at Leipzig. Manchester United are interested in him now. Are Arsenal? That's a big question mark. Surely Arsenal would be interested in Benjamin Sesko if he was to suggest that he's leaving in the summer. Because for me, when you go in for the player like we did, or like we apparently did, or the rumour suggested that we did, why would you just go off of him? But we have done that before with Vlahovic. It looks now as if that's being spoken about again for the first time. But Vlahovic was wanted massively by Arsenal, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. So what is going on there? Are Manchester United are looking at Benjamin Sesko to add to Xerxes and Højlund or to replace one of them with? Manchester United, in my opinion, still need a centre forward. And it's crazy. They've signed Xerxes, they've signed Højlund, but I still think they need an upgrade. I don't look at Manchester United's width and I think, wow, Amad Diallo looks pretty good. Garnacho looks pretty good. Rashford's hot and cold. Anthony's clueless. So where do they go with that? In midfield, I think when they get everybody fit, Manchester United have got an okay midfield with Ugarte, with Kobe Mainoo, with Mason Mount, with Bruno Fernandes. Obviously, they've still got Eriksen. At the back, they've got De Ligt, Lenny Yoro, and Martinez now. They've obviously got Mazraoui, who's been fantastic for them at fullback. Dalot I've always rated. Onana's been better in goal. So Manchester United should start to improve on their results, but they're not. I think they're definitely improving on their play, but they're definitely not improving on their results. So, look, I want Alexander Isak. If Benjamin Sesko is available, I expect Arsenal to be interested because we've shown previous interest before. But sticking with Manchester United, this guy wants the job. Gareth Southgate is holding out for Manchester United. That must mean he knows something. That must mean that the board, this new structure, actually are looking and considering Gareth Southgate as their next manager. I would love nothing more than Ten Hag to be sacked and Gareth Southgate get the job. It would be hilarious. Gareth Southgate is a well-respected man. Gareth Southgate handles the media fantastically. He's a nice human being. He's a great footballing man, but he is not taking Manchester United anywhere. That style of football will not get them anywhere, and their fan base would absolutely hate it. So for me, I actually want Ten Hag to stay for as long as possible because I think he's awful. But for me, Gareth Southgate coming in would definitely prove that they are clueless. Now, want to end on this news. Wojciech Szczesny has just retired. But apparently, Wojciech Szczesny is interested in coming out of retirement to help Barcelona. The former Arsenal and Poland goalkeeper, who's 34 years old, would be willing to come out of retirement just a month after leaving Juve to sign for Barcelona. And that is, of course, following Ter Stegen's injury. Claudio Bravo, who is 41, is apparently interested in coming out of retirement to help Barcelona out. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. The goalkeepers are wanting to come out of retirement to go and play for Barcelona. Look, I understand it. I understand why, right? I do. I look at that scenario and I think to myself, would they really want Wojciech Szczesny? Would they really want Claudio Bravo to come in and potentially take over from Ter Stegen? That is a big thing for them to do. So, look, he's injured. It looks bad, apparently. It could be a whole season out. They're saying it's a really bad injury. They need a goalkeeper to come in, and it could be that Wojciech Szczesny is one of them. Let me share some Arsenal news with you to finish because I think it's only fair. We go through one of the best Twitter pages, in my opinion, to go through and cover all Arsenal news. Mikel Arteta, of course, had a press conference that went very, very well. I thought it was really good yesterday. And he said on the tactics against Manchester City, we had to play the game that way. We learned from the past. Unfortunately, we've been in that situation 3 times recently, and one was with Granit. How many did we concede? Basically, what he's saying is when we play like people wanted us to, we would have probably lost by 4 or 5 like we have previously. Thought that was very cleverly put. The other thing that made me laugh was he said, have you got to remind your players not to kick the ball away in the future? For passing the ball, you mean? I think so. Don't touch the ball. We'll have to play without the ball. It did make me laugh. He's basically mocking the new rule, which of course is a rule that we have to oblige to, adhere to. But let's be real. It is a stupid rule. I also loved this. He said, I always prefer facts than words. Let's see who's available tomorrow. And he's talking about tonight's game at Bolton, which we'll touch on before we close. And then we can talk about dark arts. Unfortunately, there'll be a few players not available. We have to wait for one of them. Now, he's talking there about, are we playing dark arts or actually are we genuinely injured? We've got players going down with cramp that apparently just had cramp and had to be subbed. Every single player that went down got subbed. That's what no one's talking about. It wasn't like we were going down, oh my God, we're really hurt. No, we're not. We're really hurt. No, we're not. Keep down, keep down. Anybody that went down, went off. Whether it was Martinelli, whether it was Timber, whether it was Calafiori, they all went off with an injury or cramp. And let's hope that we have some available. There is news on injuries. David Raya apparently is one that could be a doubt. Calafiori, Timber, Martinelli all went off with cramp. We're not sure. But Zinchenko is going to be out for a few more weeks, unfortunately, with that calf injury. For me, he's got this season to prove his fitness, or I'm going to want to get him gone because he and Tomiyasu are 2 players made of glass. On the injury to Ødegaard, I think it will be a matter of weeks, he said, but how long exactly, I can't tell you. We might get a surprise before the international break, but I think it's unlikely. What does he mean by weeks? Does he mean weeks turning into months, or does he mean a couple of weeks? That's what I need to look at. I need to understand whether Martin Ødegaard is out for a hell of a long time here or if he's out for a few weeks. Now, Mikel Merino, likewise, has taken his cast off and is starting to get involved in training from next week. And there's rumours that Kieran Tierney's training at the moment. So we are starting to get players back. But let's be real. I think Ødegaard could be out for a while. He then went on to say, it's opinions. Other things will be factors. whoever says that what he says afterwards is not going to retract his words, but will use the facts. Look, he's talking about dark arts. There's accusations that we're faking injuries. There's accusations that we're using dark arts. For me, it's been used in football for years. The minute that Arsenal do it, apparently it's out of order. He was asked on Mikel Marino. He said, not Mikel Marino, Jose Mourinho. He was asked about how other managers have influenced him. He's talking about the League Cup. You learn a lot from all the top coaches. You try to understand why they've been successful and what really touches that team, makes it special and consistent, especially at this level and the amount of games that we play. He's talking about the League Cup, taking it seriously. Jose Mourinho and Pep have gone on to win that cup and then gone on to win the league. And I think for me, that is why I want to see us go and take it seriously. We need to 100% take this seriously, guys. This is a League Cup that we can win. This is a trophy that we can win. Winning breeds confidence, and it's the first trophy Arsenal Football Club can win out of the 4 that we're in. For me, we need to take it seriously tonight, and not just tonight, throughout the whole rest of the competition. So I hope that we do. He also mentioned on the 3 big away matches, he says he's extremely proud, thinks the desire of the team is to compete in any context, to win and to adapt to different circumstances and competitions. There are different ways of playing, and the hunger and emotional and physical side of things was impressive. I totally agree. And I think we need to look back at those games and think if we continue to play the way we are, perhaps we've got problems against Bolton, Leicester, Southampton, Bournemouth. But let's be real, we're not going to play that way against those teams, in my opinion. He was asked on whether he'll make 10 or 11 changes against Bolton, and he said at the moment, we can't. We don't have 10 or 11 players available. There are injury problems at Arsenal, that's for sure. And I think there's more. Yesterday didn't sound good. However, he did speak on Nwaneri and Lewis Skelly's recent involvement, and he says that he's very proud of them. They're dealing with situations that they probably didn't expect to have to do, and they had the chance to play in 2 of the most historic and difficult grounds in Premier League, and they both responded well. I thought that was really, really impressive. And I think, if I'm honest, he goes on to say they're 2 really pushy players. They're really demanding. They want everything. They want more information. They love it. And you can tell they're passionate about everything. They see this as a huge opportunity to grab with both hands. And I think that both of them will probably get minutes tonight. I think Nwaneri might even start. Maybe both of them will start. Lewis Skelly can play in a number of positions and has shown his versatility in midfield and at fullback. Maybe we're looking at both of these to start tonight. It could be that case. It really could. Let's move on, though, because there are lots of reports about injuries to David Raya. Now, apparently it's understood that the knock sustained by Raya is not serious. Though the goalkeeper is likely to be rested tonight, he's expected to be back on Saturday against Leicester. That is massive for me. I was really worried that we were going to lose David Raya for a long period of time. There was a lot of suggestions that his injury was actually quite bad and that he was the one that we were concerned about. Now, yesterday in the press conference, Mikel Arteta was actually asked, are any of them serious? And he said, we have to wait on one. It looks as if it was David Raya that we had to wait on, and hopefully he's back for the weekend. So that could be really key as to who plays this evening. Number 2 goalkeeper Neto, who we signed on loan from Bournemouth, is cup-tied. Unfortunately, we bought a cup-tied goalkeeper to play in the Cups. It's absolutely crazy. He'll be available for the FA Cup, but not for the Carabao Cup. Setford, he's not been in the Arsenal squad since the international break because of a fitness and injury issue. That leaves Jack Porter, who only turned 16 in July, next in line. It looks like Jack Porter is going to be in goal tonight for Arsenal. That is incredible. 1, it will be really interesting to see what he's like, highly rated goalkeeper. And 2, I think we have to go strong in defence because we've got him in goal. What we can't do is leave it really weak at the back. So what I don't want is to have Jack Porter and then have Maldini in heaven in front of him. That's not what I want to see. So we're going to have to be really careful about tonight. Get the game won and bring your 5 best players off. That's probably the best thing to do. Don't underestimate a Carabao Cup game just because it's Bolton. That's all I will say. The other thing I wanted to do was talk about William Saliba. Our Rolls Royce at the back, William Saliba. Let's talk a little bit about him because this season so far, he has been phenomenal alongside Gabriel, who doesn't always get a mention. But this stat is quite phenomenal. Thou shalt not pass. Of the 109 players to attempt 10 or more tackles in the Premier League this season, only Saliba is yet to be dribbled past. The Arsenal defender has won all 18 of his tackles he's attempted so far during this campaign. Now, I know we're only 5 games in, but he really is something special. The only player not to be dribbled past, won every single one of his tackles he's gone in for. This is a huge, huge talent and one of the best we're going to see at Arsenal. I've had the pleasure of seeing phenomenal centre-halves at this club. I grew up on Tony Adams, Martin Keown and Steve Bold. We were then treated with Toure and Campbell, who formed a partnership together to go unbeaten. And in the Emirates era, we've had some shockers. but we have had some okay defenders. Vermaelen, Koscielny, Mertesacker. Let's be real. Gabriel and Saliba are phenomenal. It's the best partnership we've seen in years. I have to go back to Tony Adams and Sol Campbell days to be talking about partnerships of how good they were. Bolden, Keown and Adams. But let's talk about Saliba's age. He's just turned 23, right? He's better than what Tony Adams was at that age. He's better than what Sol Campbell was. He's better than what Rio Ferdinand was. And if I'm honest with you, in terms of styles, Rio Ferdinand is probably the one that I can compare him to the most. I think William Saliba is right up there at the moment as being one of the best centre-halves in world football. And I don't think that's a mad, wild statement. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Now let's talk about this. The footy headlines can exclusively leak that the new Arsenal home kit will be traditionally red and white with no other colours, with the return of the full Arsenal crest. Now that's very interesting because we've seen, haven't we, for a while, that we've got the Adidas, we've got the Canon, we've got other things that have been on the shirts, but it looks now like they are going back to the Arsenal badge, which we haven't seen on the shirts for quite some time. I actually quite like it. I don't think we need to have the badge on the shirt every single time, but I actually quite like the fact that we've had some difference. We've got the Adidas, we've got the Canon, we've got the badge, we've had different things. For me, I have to look at it and I have to say, I am a huge, huge fan of the kits with Adidas. I have to say that. I think we've had some phenomenal kits with Adidas. Back in the day, we had brilliant kits with Adidas, and it has just got better and better. I was not a fan of Puma, didn't like their kits. Nike, I always liked, but for me, Adidas absolutely are the best. And I just think Arsenal every season have got the best kits. I really do. I just look at it and think, yeah, we are the best. We look the best. We've been smart. And for me, home and away, I'm a little bit old school, personally. I want to see red and white home. I want to see yellow and blue away. And I think black and gold as the third kit. That black and gold kit that I was wearing yesterday, that for me, wow, incredible. Apart from, of course, the kits that way. The Bruised Banana is my favourite, I've got to say, away kit. I loved the gold Sega and Dreamcast kit, but I have to say, that one was phenomenal. But black and gold, oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So that's that. Tonight we have Bolton. Let's talk about that quickly because there's a lot of people suggesting that we might have to make a hell of a lot of changes. I think naturally we're going to have to. Look, these players have gone away to Atalanta, Man City, Spurs and Villa already in the past 5 games. We need to look at how we can rotate sensibly. Now, if Jack Porter's going to come in goal at 16 years old, there's a weakness there. If we have no Setford and no Neto and no Raya, he's the only one we've got. We're going to have to play a really young kid in goal and on the bench. And then at right back, we've got a decision. Does he go with Timber? Does he go with Ben White? Or does he play Josh Nichols as a youngster? Does he play Lewis Skelly there? At left back, likewise, does he go with Calafiori or does he play Lewis Skelly there? The centre back partnership, is it going to be Gabriel and Saliba because of Jack Porter in goal, or is he going to trust in Kivior potentially one more? Is Heaven going to get a game, or are we going to go in with Saliba or Gabriel? Then in midfield, Jorginho surely has to captain the side. Wanyeri, I believe, will get a start. And is it going to be Lewis Skelly, or will it have to be Declan Rice? We are not blessed in some of these areas. We have not got, like Arteta says, enough to just change all 11 players. Then we look into the midfield and front three. I think the front three for me has to be Sterling, Jesus and Martinelli. I appreciate he come off with cramp. I appreciate that we might need to look at one of them starting. But for me, with Trossard suspended, we haven't really got much of an option. And I think Martinelli needs confidence. I think Martinelli needs a goal. I think Sterling needs confidence. I think Sterling needs a goal. And I think Jesus needs confidence and Jesus needs a goal. For me, it's a no-brainer to start those as a front three with Wanyeri in behind and then maybe Jorginho and Rice. And then you go at the back with what you believe is needed. We've got a lot of options there. Timber, Calafiori, Kivior, Gabriel, Saliba, all fit. We need to play sensibly with that one. So, look, Jack Porter's going to be in goal. That's the one worry. But highly rated. What an opportunity. Just turned 16 in July. Phenomenal opportunity for him. Hopefully, he doesn't have any bad errors and we can go into the game with confidence. I think that we will win the game 3-0. I'll be going tonight. I'll be watching it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of what Mikel Arteta will do because I'm actually not just looking forward to youngsters anymore. Yeah, it'll be great to see Jack Porter and Lewis Skelly and Wanyeri, see how they do. And if any other opportunities for kids come up, great. But I'm actually looking forward to see what Martinelli does. I'm looking forward to see what Sterling does. I'm looking forward to see what Jesus can do because these three at the moment are on the bench. majority of the time. Other than Martinelli, who, in my opinion, needs goals and confidence, they all need to be playing. And for me, Sterling, in the last couple of cameos, has been stinky. Jesus, I thought he come on and was great with his work rate, but made stupid errors. So look, I'm a huge fan of what we've got at the moment. When it gets fully fit, we've still got Zinchenko playing this game. We've still got Tomiyasu who would play in this game. Marino would probably play in this game. Erdegaard would play at the weekend, and that would have allowed one of the others to play today. So we have got a squad that's strong, but I just can't help but think that we're too short. And those two positions are a Fabio Vieira replacement and an Eddie Nketiah replacement. And I think if we would have got that, Eze and Isak, Eze and Gyökeres, Danny Olmo and Tony, whoever it was, I think we would have had a brilliant opportunity of going all the way in all four competitions. So tonight I'm going 3-0. Bolton are poor in League One. They're near the bottom. In fact, I think they might be bottom. We need to go and punish them tonight, and it needs to be a comfortable victory. That's what I want to see. Big up to every single one of you. Do me a favor, show Manscaped some love. Go click on the pinned comment now in the section of the comment section. Make sure you go to beard and face, select the beard hedger, and you'll get 20% off. Please make sure that we get some of these sold guys, because the sponsorship deal is really important to the channel. Manscaped have shown us some love. We need to show them some love. Make sure you go treat somebody. Get some beard trimmers. Yeah, they do other stuff as well. I'm not going to go down there. But trust me, for this one, the Beard Hedger is the best beard trimmer you will get on the market at the moment. And it's 20% off. So please make sure you do that, people. Go check it out. Big up to every single one of you. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. At the moment, not enough people have hit subscribe throughout this stream. Please make sure that subscribe button is hit. It is free. There is no subscription fee. And please make sure you hit the like button, because at the moment, there's only 120 of you that have. Let's get that up to 150 very quickly, and then on to 250 after that. Big up to every single one of you. Yes, I'll be back a little bit later, but we are going to be back tonight after Arsenal versus Bolton. I'll be doing a fan cam, so I will see you all then. Take it easy, and we'll see you next time on the next one. Big up.
Yes, people, Manscaped is back, but this time it's not for below the belt grooming. Manscaped brings to you the Beard Hedger, the best product on the market when it comes to beard trimmers. The Beard Hedger is unique due to its number of gradient settings. As someone who's purchased this, I won't turn to any other beard trimmer. Check it out for yourself at manscaped.com. And don't forget to use code FTM20 to get 20% off of this product.